Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Real Life Health Show, and I have a question or a comment today that somebody sent me that I want to reply to because there's some misconception out, but the person overall made a good comment and people really need to get it and understand. I just came back from Georgia where I did a wonderful event, and the people that hosted the event, I mean, when you talk about stereotyping people, you talk about the word Southern hospitality. These people were really, truly just beautiful, amazing people, and it was just great. And but one thing I noticed, especially about the guy, he was so happy, and there was so much joy in him. There was joy in the wife as well. She was just the most comforting person in the world, and amazing. But this guy went overboard with joy and happiness, and together it was just a great time, and it's just a great event and great medicine. And the reason why I bring that up is because today's comment says a person, in this case Steve Jobs, could eat raw, keep the body clean, hydrated, and exercise. And then I'm going to read the rest of the comment. But first of all, Steve Jobs, at one point when he created the Apple Macintosh computer, was a raw foodist, and that's why he named it the Apple computer. I don't know if you've known that. But he went way off the raw food diet since then. I actually met his wife once at Hippocrates Health Institute, so we still always believed in a concept. But basically, he was not eating as healthy as a raw food diet can provide. And so when people say, well, Steve Jobs was on a raw food diet and got cancer, that's not necessarily the truth. So that's just a misconception. But anyway, the person goes on to say, but if he does not heal the greatest cancer of them all, the internal cancer of unforgiveness, resentment, anger, and hatred, that internal cancer will kill him. I am in full agreement with this being unforgiveness, resentment, anger, and hatred. The unforgiveness and the resentment, the anger and the hatred, there are things to righteously be angry and hateful about, but really, the bottom line comes down to your attitude towards life, your attitude towards everything. And there's many negative attitudes or emotions and positive. And the more those negative emotions fill your life or a part of your life, the more it's going to affect your health. Stress, we know, greatly affects our health tremendously. But I met a guy who's in his 90s, I think he's 95, a Holocaust survivor. And I asked him if he has a lot of stress in his life. He says, yeah, but he enjoys it. It keeps him active. It keeps him busy. So it's not necessarily the stress, it's our attitude towards it. And attitude goes a long way. And I really wanted to make this video because there are people that eat a healthy diet, a raw food diet, and other diets that get sick. But we got to look at their attitude. And I'm not saying their outer attitude on how they appear in the world, in public. I'm talking about their inner attitude in private. How do they think about things? Because you can be the nicest person and the calmest person in the world, but how you think about things can really stir up a lot of emotions within you. And especially if you're not letting them out, if you're holding them in, even worse. But it definitely can contribute strongly to disease. And when I talk about people healing from disease and sickness, it's something that needs to be spoken about as well, not just diet. Yes, diet is a big part of it. And even how we approach your diet and all of this is a very important part of it. But attitude makes a tremendous difference. And we could say attitude, we could say emotional state. And whatever we want to say, we have to understand that it's not just about food, folks. Our emotions play a big role in this. But food's important too, because I know some people that have great emotions and a wonderful attitude, but they get cancer and other diseases, and it's the problem with them is their diet. So this is a puzzle. There's many different pieces, and you can't just have one side of the puzzle and think the puzzle is complete. Unfortunately, that's what some people do. And it even goes beyond this. There's many different ways to respond to certain things and act. And the problem is we're conditioned and trained to grow up and act a certain way, and usually the way our parents acted or the friends around us. And when we're young, we tend to mimic those things. That's why little children usually act like their parents, because it makes a big impression on them. So not only what they're eating, but the way they're acting and their attitude towards certain things. So we have to really, really focus on this. And if there's some negative emotions in our life, or if we get too upset too easy, we have to question where this behavior come from. And there are certain signs, things like road rage is definitely a sign that you're not going to be healthy and something is wrong, or something had been wrong in the past. And insecurity and just self-confinement or being a hermit. We're supposed to be out there with other people and talk to them and conversate with them without getting certain negative emotions or these things. You look at the perspective of our image. The society has a big thing on our image today. A lot of people have image complexes. I tell people, start eating healthy. They start eating a raw food diet and they lose a lot of weight. They get really skinny. Their image will stop them from being healthy because they'll say, oh, that diet, I lost too much weight. But you felt better than you haven't felt in your life. Your sicknesses went away, but you're telling me you're too skinny. You have an image complex that you need to work on because that is going to keep you unhealthy, or the diet is going to keep you unhealthy to avoid that image complex. So deal with that image complex, eat a raw food diet, learn the right way to do it, and you won't be thinking that just because somebody else thinks you're too skinny or you think you're too skinny. No, folks, we got to get this right. This is tremendously important. So, attitude makes a tremendous difference. And I'm not saying Steve Jobs or somebody else didn't have a good attitude, but, the attitude, diet, your emotional state, your spiritual state, all of these are part of the big puzzle. And when you see a health guru that dies, it doesn't mean their health information wasn't good, but you don't know what other information, or at least it doesn't mean their diet information wasn't good. You don't know what information or what else they're doing, and so on. And, the Bible gives a great list of how to live our lives and what to do in such a positive way. And it says, the wicked shall die before their time. So it even talks about people that have an attitude that goes against the guidelines and instructions of the scriptures. And these are some of those things, forgiveness or unforgiveness, having unforgiveness. And these are some of the things, and resentment. These are the things that it talks against. And it says what we shouldn't be doing and try to avoid. Then we got to look at, of course, keeping fit, moving, keeping exercise. Folks, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about people I know, like my father, for example. I'm really concerned because he's like a classic example of some things that are going on that's not good. He's never been diagnosed with a major illness. I'm happy about that, but that's not necessarily a good thing because I know how it is. People that aren't diagnosed with illnesses, all of a sudden something goes wrong, they go to the hospital, disease is brewing in their body. It's too classic, and I'm concerned because I don't want him to fall in the classic model of what happens. And we look at his attitude, it's like the most people in today's world. My mother, she retired, and she's the most active person I know. She's so active, and she's always busy. She's always doing something. My dad's retired. He doesn't have a hobby. He goes on walks every day, but he's just not active in society and life. He's just being, to himself, even though he goes on walks, and it's too much of the classic model that has me concerned. He doesn't even eat really bad. But I'm concerned about this because the attitude towards, this. Work keeps people busy. Work keeps people active. And then they retire. If they've hated their job for so long, good, they're not doing it anymore. Well, now do something you like. Don't do nothing. Some people would say, what if you like doing nothing? Well, at least have a good attitude about doing nothing. So, there's a classic model of people that get sick. And some people do too much. That can get people sick. But we have to make sure we don't, we should research and find out what the numbers say and what the classic is. And, we could investigate and find out and make ourselves sure that we're not suffering from those things, folks. We're not doing those things. And I think that'll help our health path. Okay, everybody? If you have comments or questions, post them below the video. And if you're watching this on a Raw Life Health Show, I do my best to get all my questions for the week and answer them for members on the Raw Life Health Show. And if you're not a member of the Raw Life Health Show, click on the link below the video, rawlifehealthshow.com. For as low as $4 a month, you can become a member. And besides all the Q&A you get answered each week and the tremendous amount of member videos up there, you also get 10% off everything at my web store, rawlife.com. So check that out. Until then, everybody, put those questions below. Have a good attitude. And for everything, show gratitude and have a great day and a great real life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.